Everyone tells you to stay motivated, but the truth is, motivation is the biggest scam in the self improvement industry, and discipline isn't the answer either. The real secret to long lasting change is rhythm, guys. And if you don't get this right, you will keep starting over again and again. So, in this video, I will explain you guys why rhythm is the key to success and how to create this rhythm. Because once you create this rhythm, you really become unstoppable in life. I had the same problem, guys. Some days I got so much done, and some days I did nothing. I was procrastinating on my work, scrolling on my phone, laying in my bed. I had no energy to do hard things in life. And that's because I was relying on motivation. And the thing with motivation is it's unpredictable, it's emotional, and it's not consistent. It's like the weather. Sometimes good, and sometimes it's cloudy, it's raining, and you don't feel like doing anything. That's basically it. So I thought I need to have discipline because all these self-help gurus, they always talk about discipline. You don't need motivation, you need discipline to get anything in life. So I thought, let's do discipline. Let's build that discipline up. And the thing is, I was forcing this discipline, and I came to the conclusion that discipline isn't the way either. Because discipline is a daily fight. It costs so much energy to push through the resistance each day to do the things you don't want. That's really hard. You can do this for months, but you can't sustain this for years because it takes away so much energy to do that fight every day. I don't want to go to the gym, but I still go. It's just hard and you lose so much energy on it. So I thought there must be a way in which I can stay consistent and preserve as much energy as I can to put in my goals. So that's when I found out something, guys. So the truth is, you have three engines. That's how I call them. The first two, everyone knows. The first one is motivation. Motivation is the spark, it gets you started, but it dies out fast. You can easily see who was relying on motivation because motivation dies out in about 2 weeks most of the time. A lot of people that go to the gym, they quit most of the time after 2 to 4 weeks. Then they're just done. And they were relying only on the motivation. That's why they can't be consistent. The better engine to rely on is discipline. Discipline is the power to push through, even when you don't want to. It's way better than motivation, way more consistent, but it's exhausting. If you do this for months, for years, it will just keep eating energy. You can't sustain discipline for always. It's a daily fight, it's pushing through resistance. You just waste a lot of energy this way. It's just not the most efficient way. So that's when I discovered rhythm. Rhythm is a pattern of action you look into until it becomes automatic. So it's way more powerful than discipline because it's way more consistent. It doesn't cost energy because things will just flow. You will get into that rhythm and things become automatic and you don't have to force that much energy into it to keep the ball rolling. That's the biggest difference. And you can see on this picture, motivation is like the spark, like you feel so much energy and you only rely on that energy. Most of the time, you go way too hard, way too fast from the beginning. You can't sustain that, and you will get in a negative feedback loop because you will do less, less, and less. Things will become harder and harder. And after just a couple of weeks, you quit. Discipline is strength, it's pushing through resistance. And that's why it is really strong and it's really good to start, but you just can't sustain it. And even if you sustain it, you just waste so much energy that you could have invested in your goals or in other things, and you would get way more results that way. So rhythm is like a beat. You know, when you hear a beat, your body starts moving. You know, if you hear a nice song, it's automatic. Your body wants to flow on that rhythm. It wants to flow on that beat. That's what rhythm is, guys. It's just automatic. Your body flows on that pace, on that rhythm. And it isn't a daily fight anymore. You're not fighting, you're just flowing on the rhythm. When a nice song comes up, you automatically move on the beat. It even costs energy to not move. That's how powerful rhythm is, guys. Once you get this rhythm, you become really unstoppable. I give you a fitness example because maybe you can see it, but I'm like kind of a fitness guy. So that's like the most easy for me, and a lot of people understand that example. You can train as hard as you want. One workout won't do shit for you. You need to show up at least 3 times a week for months, for years. Every week you need to show up before you will see results because that way you will force results. It's like inevitable you will get good results if you show up every single week, multiple times, and you just scale your workouts. And that's also how you will create that rhythm. You need to be consistent, and at a certain point, it just becomes automatic. So you need to see motivation as fireworks. It's very powerful, but very short. While rhythm, like a drum beat, it just lasts. And once you get that rhythm, you just keep going. It becomes automatic. You want to keep flowing on that rhythm. That's why it's so powerful, guys. So the big question for you guys is how to build that rhythm. Well, it's pretty simple, guys, but there are some crucial steps you can't mess up, otherwise you won't get into this rhythm. And the first thing is we need to start small. That's very important, guys, and it's very hard for most people because everyone starts with motivation. That's just inevitable. But the thing with starting with motivation is most people want to start too fast. They want to do too much because they have so much energy. They want to use it. So they want to start going to the gym 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and they start doing way too much. They can't sustain that and they will get in a negative feedback loop. And in that way, you won't build that rhythm. You can only build rhythm if you're consistent and maybe like moving up a little. You need to get better. You can't get worse. The moment you get worse, you can't build rhythm. So that's why it's super important. No matter how motivated you are, start small and stay consistent for at least a month before you start increasing. I can make like 7 YouTube videos a week. I just make three because I'm just starting. If I can make three for a whole month, maybe then I go to four. And maybe after that month, I go to five. Just start small. Just start with a quantity you know you will do. That's very important because that quantity needs to be non-negotiable. You can't miss. If you start going to the gym 2 times a week or 3 times a week, those 3 times or 2 times are non-negotiable. You can't miss because the moment you miss is a moment that rhythm fades away. You need to keep hitting your goals and you will start building rhythm. So that's very important, guys. Start small and don't miss. The second, use discipline from the start to push through resistance because we need to have discipline to get into that rhythm because rhythm only starts in about 1 month. It takes time to build rhythm. So we need to rely on discipline to push through the first resistance. The first couple of weeks, we need to push through using discipline. We need to fight. We need to do things we don't want to do before it becomes automatic. That's very important, guys. So use discipline for that. And the third step is create a system or routine that becomes automatic. This is where the rhythm is built. We need to use a system or a routine. Otherwise, it won't work. See it as brushing your teeth. You have a system slash routine for brushing your teeth. You wake up and maybe the first thing you do is brushing your teeth. Or after breakfast, you always brush your teeth. Before you go to bed, you always brush your teeth. You have a fixed routine, a fixed time frame in which you start doing that action. That's super important. So if you go to the gym, you need to have fixed days or a fixed routine. For me, I have a fixed routine. I always do push day, pull day, leg day, rest. Push day, pull day, leg day, rest. That's what I do. That's my routine and it's fixed. And that way I just create a rhythm. For me, it's automatic. I don't even think about going. I just go. It doesn't take any energy. And I can use all that energy that I save to put in my workouts and get better results. That's how you need to do it, guys. So these are the 3 steps you need to take to build rhythm. And once you build this rhythm, guys, you really become unstoppable. It's so powerful. And it just blows my mind that no one talks about this. Like most of these self-help gurus, they only talk about discipline. They only say motivation is bad. You need to have discipline. They're not entirely wrong, but I just don't agree because I don't believe discipline is the best way. The best way is definitely rhythm. And I hear no one talk about this. Sometimes I just think, why am I the only one talking about this shit? Maybe I just miss a couple of people, but I just don't get it, guys. It's so powerful and yet no one talks about it. So let me give you a bit of my own story. So maybe you can relate with me. Because about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I just left everything behind and went to Thailand. I left my job behind, my family, my friends, like my whole environment. I just literally got rid of everything and went on my own to start building my new life. I wanted to rebuild my life from scratch. I wanted to work on myself, challenge myself, and just grow as a person. I wasn't motivated by this. It was not fun. I wasn't excited to do this because I knew it was going to be hard. But what brought me here was taking small steps every single day. It started with just manifesting, just preparing my brain on this change. Like, I'm going to leave everything behind. Just talking out loud, saying these things was the first step I did. And from that, I just started preparing okay, how to make YouTube videos, how to post on Insta, because not only did I left, I also created a new routine. I never posted on YouTube, I never posted on Instagram. Now I post 3 reels on Instagram each day, I post 3 YouTube videos each week. I built this new rhythm, and I just needed to take small steps to get there, because you can't do this out of nowhere. You need to take small steps. So that's when I used discipline to build rhythm. Every day I just did something small that got me here. And eventually I just started, okay, I booked a ticket. I booked a hotel. I make my first videos, my YouTube videos, my Instagram videos. And that's how I got started. It wasn't a motivation, because I started very small and just built my way up. That's how I did it, guys. And once that rhythm is built, it's almost hard to fall off. That example with the music. Once you hear that music and you want to dance, it's even harder not to dance than to dance, because your body wants to flow on that rhythm. It's exactly the same with this. For me, it's hard not to train, because it's in my rhythm to have this routine of training. So it's even harder for me not to go than to go. And that's why rhythm is so powerful. Once you have the right rhythm, it's like very hard to fall off. While with discipline, it's very easy. It's just stop resisting and you're done. So the last thing I will give you guys in this video is, every journey starts with taking action. If I didn't take action, I wouldn't be here. And it didn't even matter how much preparation I did. If I didn't step on that plane, I wouldn't be here. I could book the hotel. I could book a plane ticket. I could start a YouTube channel. I could do everything right. But not stepping on that plane would get me nowhere. So that's my last bit of advice, guys. If you want something, just start taking action. Otherwise, your life won't change. So, guys, I really appreciate you watching this video. Please comment something below, like this video, and I will see you next time. Ciao.